Good morning. Early this morning, Deputy Robert John, Jahn, was investigating a shots heard call at an apartment complex in the city of Adelanto. While he was investigating that shots heard call, he was struck by gunfire from the suspect, sustained one gunshot wound, and was transported via helicopter to Arrowhead Regional Hospital. He was rushed into surgery immediately. He's now out of surgery in ICU in critical but stable condition. Deputy John has been with the department for 5 years, assigned to the Victor Valley Station, which is responsible for the city of Adelanto, for 2 years. During the subsequent investigation, our deputy sheriffs were able to identify 2 suspects that we believe are responsible for the shooting. Suspect number 1, Nicholas Ruiz, 26 years old, out of Los Angeles. Suspect number 2, Larry Carino, 26 years old, out of Los Angeles. Both those suspects are in custody and will be booked shortly at one of our detention facilities. As you may be aware, this is the 3rd event in the last 14 days where our deputy sheriffs were fired upon by suspects in this county. It's important to remember that we have a great deal of community support in the county of San Bernardino, but there are some dangerous people on the street, and our deputy sheriffs are out there every day doing their best to protect those that we're responsible for protecting in the county of San Bernardino. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions. Yes, a firearm was recovered during a subsequent search of the apartment in Adelanto.
Are you looking for anyone else at this point?
No. We have the 2 suspects in custody we believe are responsible for this. The SWAT team in Adelanto has cleared the apartment complex. We do not believe there is anybody else associated with this crime that we have not interviewed or is not in custody.
Sheriff, was Deputy John attempting to make entry into the building, or how did it happen that he was struck?
It's my understanding as he and his partners approached the apartment, gunfire erupted from inside the apartment and he was struck at that point.
The first set of gunfire when the traffic stop was being conducted, were the deputies also targeted in that set of gunfire as well?
We're not sure. The investigation is still ongoing, but at the time they were making the traffic stop, they heard the gunfire. Whether it was directed at them, we'll determine later in the investigation. But when they approached the apartment to further investigate is when gunfire erupted from inside the apartment and ultimately struck Deputy John.
Were there any other calls for service in that same area earlier in the night, also maybe for sound of gunfire?
I'm not aware of any other calls for service in that area about sounds of gunfire prior to those deputies investigating. We're still doing that in part of the investigation. We're not exactly sure what led to the initial gunfire, but the deputies heard it while they were on a traffic stop in the neighborhood. Nobody else was struck by gunfire besides Deputy John.
When the deputies approached, was it a 2-man unit or separate units? And when they were approaching, were they on foot when the shots came?
It was a 2-man unit making the traffic stop in the city of Adelanto. Those 2 deputies responded to the apartment complex to investigate, as well as other deputies that are assigned to that area responded as well.
Sheriff, can we be sure this was not some kind of entrapment, ambush type situation? And also, was it the deputy's partner who was able to shield him and pull him to safety after he was wounded?
We're not sure if this was some type of ambush. That'll be determined through the investigation. But the deputies that were on scene that helped Deputy John did an incredible job getting him out of the line of gunfire and to the helicopter and medical support to get him transported here to ARMC for treatment.
Can you expand on that? Please, the incredible job they did, what risk was involved, that kind of thing?
Well, there was gunfire coming from inside of the apartment is our understanding at this point. Once Deputy John was struck, they were able to help him get out of the line of fire to awaiting medical personnel and ultimately into a helicopter to get to ARMC for treatment.
Any idea what 2 men from Los Angeles were doing at this apartment complex overnight?
Not yet, but we'll figure that out as the investigation continues.
Sheriff, can you talk more?
It was a handgun. I don't want to get any specific details of what type yet, but it was a handgun found inside the apartment, and we believe that is the firearm that was responsible for the gunfire.
Sheriff, can you talk more about Deputy John's injuries and the prognosis for his recovery?
According to the doctors, and I did get a chance to see him, he's still in very critical condition. But according to the doctors, a round went through the abdomen and struck several organs, and they treated and fixed those the best of their ability. He remains in critical condition, and they will continue to monitor his progress. The staff here at this hospital does an incredible job with trauma patients, and they're doing everything in their power to get him back to health. Well, we're not sure at this point exactly what the details were, but multiple bursts of gunfire came from that apartment, so that's certainly something we're going to investigate and determine. The initial round of gunfire occurred during the traffic stop. They went to the apartment to check on the source of the gunfire, and when they walked up to the apartment is when the second round of gunfire started. Yeah, it could be. I don't know exactly what the time was.
You mentioned they approached on the street. Is that where they took the gunfire, or some apartments? You can go into an interior.
They were on foot.
Area.
They were on foot at the time the second round of gunfire. When Deputy John was struck, they were on foot.
And that was on their first approach to the building. Were they out on the street?
It's my understanding it occurred when they approached the apartment where the suspects were.
How many times was the deputy shot?
It's our belief that it won one round at this point.
Do you have it to each?
I don't have that, but I'll get it to you.
You mentioned the round entered through his stomach. Did he have a vest on? Did it go through the vest?
He did have a vest on, and it's our understanding it went above the vest or below the vest, but it did not strike the vest itself and penetrated the abdomen. He was one of the deputies on the initial traffic stop.
About how many, more or less, deputies responded as they were approaching the apartment complex? Was this several or?
Several deputies.
So obviously you guys have a vast area to cover. Was this an area where there were more deputies than some places that might really be where they have out there? I'm just trying to get an idea of how quickly you guys were able to summon some people to get them there.
There's several deputies that work in the incorporated city of Adelanto. It's a contract city for us. We provide the law enforcement for that city, as well as deputies in the surrounding unincorporated area. So all the deputies that were working, that were close, were there pretty short order. But as you described, other areas of the county that are very remote, it may take deputies quite a while to get there, and there may only be one. Just depends on the jurisdiction. But in this particular case, there are multiple deputies that work in that city and then the surrounding unincorporated area and incorporated cities that we also patrol. There was not a barricade situation. The SWAT team was there and went apartment to apartment to make sure that there were no suspects that were missed. But I don't want to get into detail as to how they were arrested and how we came into contact with them yet. There were others there that were not involved, and we'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Sheriff, can you tell us, is there any kind of a special operation going on overnight in that area?
Was there?
Was there? Yeah.
No special operation going on. Deputies just doing what they do every day, patrolling the city and taking care of the citizens. We don't know yet, but we'll find that out. There's no indication they were involved in any other crime at the time of the gunfire initially, but there's obviously more to the story that we'll figure out as time goes on.
Sheriff, would it be appropriate to talk about how the deputy's family is doing now?
They're doing well. The deputy's family is here. His wife, he has 4 teenage daughters. They're doing well. They have other family members with them. A number of the family members are here present. The hospital staff set aside a special room for the family and are taking incredible care of those that are here to support the deputy and his family. No, he's not able to talk at this point. He's critical but stable is what the doctors are telling us. So his injuries are significant. That's what they suggest, yes. Yeah, critical but stable. Okay, thank you.